Hello, I am Mudita, and welcome back to Satisfactory. I am currently working on a large factory in my playthrough that requires 15 pipes of water. Instead of a normal pipe highway, I wanted to spice things up, and this is what I came up with. Huge shout out to Maker Gaming, who makes some amazing Satisfactory videos. I'll link his guide on how to make vertical circles in the description, which is what made this all possible. Let me show you how I did it. Here we are in my creative save where there's really nothing much, but I have all of the advanced game settings turned on, so there's no build cost and I can just kind of play around with the blueprints. Got the little nuclear power plant diagram over there. And so, not much else. The real beauty is it's a practically fresh save and I get all my frames back. It's a nice change of pace. So in my opinion, the vertical pipe is actually a little bit easier to build. So let me show you how I made this, which is basically just a hollow column and then I can add my pipes later. I always forget how loud the waterfalls are when you're really close. So we're just gonna move it out just a little bit so it's not too distracting. Grab ourselves the beam and I'm gonna start right in the very center. And this is where you have to decide how big you want it. The distance I went with is 8 meters, which is one foundation. And then from here, I snap a pillar right to the very end. Now what's gonna make this easier is if I just build a hotbar real quick with these two items. There we go, because now I'm gonna delete the beam. All of the beams are gonna start in the exact same spot. So right here in the very center. And now I'm gonna place it in freeform. And I wanna aim right at the side of the pillar. Place the beam, grab my pillar, and I'm gonna place this one right at the end. I'm gonna delete this one and do this all over again. See, the issue is if you keep placing it on the end of the beam, you're gonna get a really weird circle and these aren't gonna quite line up. The first one does kind of, but if we keep going, you're just not gonna have a smooth circle here on the inside. So the trick is we do it the same way, but instead of snapping it to the very end, you're gonna zoop all of them from the very beginning, because these are always going to be 4 meters, and if we're always starting at the same point, we can make sure that it's always going to be the exact same length. It's always going to have this 2 pillar or exactly 8 meter gap in between the start and the new pillar. We want to delete all of these and rinse and repeat. Alright, so now we've got this nice smooth edge, but the edge is going to be right here is where it's going to be the smoothest, because that's kind of how we're designing it, right? So I'm going to take the pillar and holding control, I can get it right on the edge here. But if I place one here, and what I'm going to do is skip every other pillar, and so we're going to skip the middle one, and then I'm going to do the same thing to this one right here. It'll be nice and smooth on the inside, but the outside is going to have these gaps. So what I'm going to do is nudge these. So I'm going to get it right there at the edge, and then I'm going to nudge it 2 meters in. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Nudge it 2 meters in. And out. I just keep doing this all the way around. So place all of those, delete these, and then we do every 2 of them. We'll get a vertical pillar. Nudge it in twice. And really what I should be doing is also nudging these down 1 meter so that they're actually flush with the ground. Because then I'll be able to zoop it up 10, and if I want to get the full use out of my Mark 6, I can go up all the way to 12. So if you keep doing that all the way around, you end up with this. So it'll be nice and smooth all the way on the outside. Now at this distance, you will have one spot where they're going to overlap. I can't remember which side it's on. Here we go. To close the gap off, you'll have to have 2 that are pretty much right next to each other. Other than that, the spacing ended up being great. But it's definitely going to be easiest to make that radius using increments of 4 meters, because that's what each one of these pillars are. It'll just be a lot easier if you stick to that. Now let's clear this one out. And let me show you how I made the horizontal one. So as you can see, I thought it would be easiest if I just built it in the very center, because if you start on the very bottom, it's a little bit harder. So you just want to pick where you want to start. So since this entire thing is 48, the very center is going to be 24. It's the very first one, the 2 in the middle, and then that 4th one, right? So we're just going to delete these 3. And then I'm just going to leave this beam here, put it in diagonal, and now we're going to do the same thing. Yep, freeform works better than diagonal. All right, now that we've got a couple of them, it's going to be the same thing. So we get it right to the edge. I hit H to lock it in place. And then because I want the smooth edge of this curve to be the outside, I am going to nudge this one up by 2 meters. Lock that in place. Skip the middle one, go to the next one over, do the same thing. And then you'll notice at some point, this is still page up to get it to there. But once I get far enough over, I think this one, if I hit page up, that goes in the wrong direction. So now we just nudge it over to the left. And then with this, now I can just zoop these all the way across. And I end up with a nice, pretty smooth circle all the way around. And with this, I wanted to add some little bands. So doing this was really easy because with this one, I didn't mind them having a little bit of a gap because it kind of looks like the pipe when it's expanding, right? Is the idea. Oh, I guess I forgot one here. So to add these, really easy. You just snap it to any one of these and they're going to be red, right? But as soon as I page it up 1 meter, now it's halfway snapped through the other pillar and it's halfway sticking out. So I just did that for every single one of these all the way around. Just lock it in place and then nudge it over or up or down and it'll be right in the spot that you want. So now let's add the pipes. Now you could do this a whole bunch of different ways. This is just the way that I decided to go about it. I built the circle around this one. So I thought that is where the very center pipe should go. And whenever you have stackables like the pipelines or belts work the same way, the difference between all of these are 2 meters apart. The project I'm working on, I needed 15 pipes, and I'm going to do it 5 pipes across and stack them 3 tall. If I want the very center one to be right there, that means there's going to be a row of pipes underneath it, which would be 2 meters below. And to get those placed, that means they need to be on something 4 meters below. So right here is where I need my platform, essentially. So I'm just going to grab a 1 meter foundation. And if I point it right at this beam, it'll snap to it. I'll hit H to lock it in place. Nudge it till it's right there at the end. Now I can zoop it all the way across. But since this is all going to be hidden, I really don't need these middle ones at all. And if I want to use the Blueprint Auto Connect, because that's just going to make my life easier, I'm just going to bring these in by half a foundation on either side. And then that way, when I place them next to each other, there'll be 4 meters on this side, 4 meters on that side that are missing, and it'll be able to fill in that gap. So let's go ahead and place 5 all the way across. And then switch to our support, and we just need 2 above all of these. Now I just need a mirror of this on the other side. Now that I have all of this on either side, I can just grab my pipe. And for this, I'm pretty sure I need Mark II for all of them, which just kind of makes things easy. And just like that, whole pipe is filled. So you could either delete these if you wanted to. I left them in my blueprint because if for whatever reason one of the pipes wasn't working, I figured it would be easier to have something to work off of if I needed to delete anything and then rebuild stuff. Now that I've actually used these blueprints, I can tell you that thankfully they just worked. With the Blueprint Auto Connect, I actually didn't have to do any pipe troubleshooting. I was so surprised, but so happy I didn't have to just come back and start deleting things. But thankfully, if I did, it's really easy. You can delete an entire side, edit the pipes that you need, and then adding these back is really easy. So if you do need to end up working on the pipes, it's obviously much more of a pain than if they were out in the open, but not the end of the world. Now with the vertical section, I, in hindsight, probably should have changed the way I did it a little bit. But let me show you what I did. I took a 1 meter foundation again, and then I just nudge it up by 4 meters. And this right here is dead center. So the way I went about it was I used the foundation to place my floor holes. Now I need 5, so these ones are gonna overhang by a little bit. And actually, because I really don't like that, I'm gonna nudge that over by a little bit and then place a half foundation. And they are clipping a little bit into the concrete, but thankfully if we go to the outside, definitely not far enough to stick out. Now I've got my 15 floor holes, and thankfully these do stretch pretty far. And I could have tested this out, but my fear was that if I had floor holes on both sides, it wouldn't actually auto-connect. It would be kind of like just having two wall holes, but if there's no belt, then it's just not going to add a belt. So my thinking was, let's just zoop up a wall, because I'm pretty sure if there's a pipe that ends at a wall hole, then it'll be fine. So we just need to make sure this is lined up and make sure there's a gap by about 1 pillar. And if we place it, I can actually still kind of get the hologram to be in the exact same place. So I press H, and then I'm going to nudge it 2 meters out, and then do that again. So I wish that they just stacked on top of each other, like the ceiling mounts for belts, but unfortunately they don't. But when you stack them manually like this, I don't know, they still look like they fit to me. Now I've got 15 pipeline wall supports. I just need to connect these with pipes, and then I'll be able to stack this a bunch of times. And if I want to add those same things to this, I do the same thing. Put it in default, H to lock it in place, and then just nudge it out. Alright, so let's just take the finished one and center it on some foundations. And as long as the arrows face in the right direction, then everything will be lined up right, and I'll have the same kind of like weird seam where two of them kind of overlap just barely. Those will at least be in the same spot. But if we go inside the hologram, it's just super crowded, but you can see that there's 15 of those little linking symbols. So we click it once. Now that those are actually locked, we can click it again, and now it'll build. Thankfully for the project I'm working on, I am taking water from up high and bringing it down low. No pumps required. If you're going the opposite direction, you may want to design yours with some pumps added into each section probably. And then probably some power connections that you'll easily be able to kind of connect through each one of them. Now the only tricky part, let's go ahead and just delete that one, is when I needed to change direction. So when I needed to go from vertical to horizontal, the way I did it was I just nudged one, and we're going to go ahead and take this out of auto connect. And then I got it to basically the center for each of them. And then the easiest thing in my opinion was just to get them actually kind of nudged into each other. All right, now that it's all built, let's go ahead and delete all of these pipes. And we'll just delete the things that are sticking up here. And now we just go back and we just start nudging things into the spot where they're not sticking out too bad. So same with these, we'll lock it in place and then just nudge it down. Obviously on the inside, it's gonna end up looking way uglier, but that's okay. I just want it to look good on the outside. Same with these, we'll nudge these down a little bit. And you just kind of work your way around. And obviously the ones at the very top are going to go pretty much all the way across. And then it becomes quite a bit of just kind of nudging things, just a meter here, 2 meters there. That one should probably go a little bit farther back. We'll go to there, maybe bring this one down. Maybe we'll do that one by 0.5 meter. So just kind of play with the distances to try to make it look not too horrible. You're not going to be able to get it smooth. So it takes a little bit of trial and error, but you can kind of play around with the nudging, then get it decently smooth, I think. So after a whole bunch of trial and error, this is what I got mine to look like in my current save. Up close, you can definitely notice kind of how jagged it is. Alright, so I guess at a distance you can still kind of notice how jagged it is. I guess I did a better job on this second one. This sort of thing in Satisfactory definitely isn't my expertise, but I do find it a lot of fun and it's something I want to keep working on. That is going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for being here. This was a cool little mini project that I thought would be fun to share. The blueprints are available for free on my Google Drive, linked in the description. I'll be putting these blueprints to use in the next video where I automate 160 singularity cells per minute. Look forward to that, and thanks for watching.